Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Club Junkie podcast. Hopefully, you're having a great week. We've made it to the middle, or we made it past the middle. God, I keep forgetting I'm on Thursday now. We made it past the middle, and we're getting closer to the weekend again. I know it's probably a short week for a lot of people. Hopefully, it's flown by, and there's some golf to be played this weekend. Hopefully, so before we get into anything today, I want to let you know this episode is brought to you by the Pro V1 and Pro V1X golf balls from Titleist, and Titleist Pro V1, Pro V1X, number one ball in golf. It's kind of the standard that's set for tour golf balls. This year's 2021 is brand new softer cast urethane cover, a faster casing layer for more speed and lower long game spin. They've got a totally reformulated core. The 2.0 ZG process, increases distance, and then if you're looking for something a little softer feel, go with the Pro V1. If you're looking for something that flies a little higher, Pro V1X. If you're looking for the lowest driver spin, Pro V1. And if you're looking for the most short game spin, Pro V1X. So, something a little different to fit everybody's game. I'm playing the Pro V1 now. I played the Pro V1X all last year because I just wanted a little more height on my shots. I've been playing the Pro V1 a little bit more this year. And, like I said, it's one of the, it's the number one golf ball in the world for a reason. So go to Titleist.com, check out the new Pro V1, Pro V1X, and see which one fits your game best. So it's ladies down and all the junk on my desk here, because if you could see the top view, it is an absolute mess here. But hey, it is what it is. So it's been a fun couple weeks of testing some stuff. So I guess before I get into that, hopefully everybody had a great Labor Day weekend. I had fun. I was down with the parents, with my family. Had some time hanging out. Did play a little golf. Played absolutely terrible. But it was like the tale of two rounds. It was like the front nine, the first four holes, I started off like double, and then a bogey, and then another double, and then like a bogey again or something like that. Like I started off the first four holes just absolutely awful. And then the next five holes, I played one under. I made four pars and a birdie. So it was like just tale of different rounds. And then you got to get to the back nine, if we're playing -1 through the front. You get to the back nine, start off with a double. Now, to be fair, the 10th hole on Bella Vista is the hardest hole on the golf course, at least in my opinion. The tee shot is super easy. You hit like a 4-iron, 5-iron. You hit something like between 190 and maybe 200 yards at the most. And then you've got about 155 and 160, maybe 165 in, depending on where you land. And that shot is the one that's absolutely atrocious. So I hit a decent drive, hit a nice 4-iron down there. Pulled my, did I hit a 7 or an 8? I think it was a 7. I think I was 160 or just over 155. Hit a 7-iron, pulled it a little left, and basically the green slopes so badly from left to right that if you're on the left side and you're not on the green, you're pretty much good luck stopping it. Let's just put it that way. Got super tentative with a wedge shot, left it up on the fringe, and then had just a nasty putt down the hill, which I breathed on, and it went. It had to go 5-6 feet by, and then I just missed the putt coming back up the hill. So it was a rough start, but that hole again just kind of kicks your butt, because if you looked at like my stats, I think I hit the fairway every time on that hole. You just hit it in an iron out there, and I don't think I don't think I've ever birdied it, and par over there feels like a birdie. So just one of those holes that just kicks your butt. And then I don't remember what I did on 11. I hit a good drive, hit a good second shot, and I think I made par there. But whatever. It was just like made a disaster. And then got to 17. I missed a couple easy putts that were hit bad first putts that left me with longer second putts that I just didn't hit good putts on the back nine. And then the wheels really fell off on 17, which is this kind of nasty little par 3 that you have to hit through a chute of trees. And it's a little triangular green, so it's wider in the back, really narrow in the front. It's got a bunker on the left, and it's got like 2 tiers, and everything slopes from back to front severely. And I hit my tee shot. I kind of knocked it over to the left, I thought it was in the bunker, which would have been fine, and it was like on the edge of the bunker. So it was technically like in the grass, but there was sand underneath it. It was like right where the bunker and that meet. It was slightly downhill, and the pin was kind of tucked over in the left. So basically, I was going to try to, hit kind of a bunker shot because there was sand underneath it, all that. And I tried that, and it didn't quite work. There was not much sand under that under that ball, and I bladed it, hit it over the green, almost on the tee box on 18. I took a pretty big swing because I had the face pretty darn open. And then, I smacked it onto the almost the tee box on 18, which was sitting on the downslope of the tee box, and then hit a really good shot coming back that just hit the top of basically hit the fringe. But again, the slope is especially up there, is so bad. It basically rolled down and then caught the second tier and rolled down there. So I'm pretty sure I made 6 there. So 1, 2, 3, 4. I think I made 6, because then the putt was whatever. I mean, it was just what a disaster. So that kind of derailed the whole round. But I had fun. I was playing with my brother and a buddy of ours. My dad dropped out. He's having a hip replacement in October. He's like, my hip is killing me. So he was like, I'm out. I'm not playing. I'm not getting up early to go play. So it was just the 3 of us, and we cruised through in like 3 hours, and it was pretty fun. So still a good time. Like I said, hit some really good shots. Had some new irons in the bag, which was a lot of fun. And maybe I'll talk about those later. They're not anything new. I had a set. Got a set of P770s, and really, really good irons. So played those, and it was great. But today, talking about something a little different, and something I've been reviewing for a couple weeks now, and it's been a blast. I won't be able to kind of put these things up here because they're much larger than what my desk will hold. So if you're somebody here watching on YouTube, you're not going to be, unfortunately. Or maybe I'll try to crop in some visuals on the thing. But talking about Motocaddy electric trolleys, or electric push carts. So if if you've never heard of Motocaddy, I think they're a European company, and they like to use the word trolley. And basically, I've been using a push cart in my league ever since I started in my league. I think the first year I walked, just carried my bag. And then I got myself a 3-wheel push cart. I think it was just called like a Tour Trek from at the time it was it Golfsmith at the time? I think it was before it even changed it over to Golf Galaxy. I think it was Golfsmith. It was called like a Tour Trek. It wasn't anything crazy. It was like $170. But it had, everything I needed. 3 wheels, held my bag, had a little cup holder, a little, plastic container to put all your stuff. And it was great. It worked wonderful. I'm still using it this year. So the alignment of the front wheel is a little off, which got to be adjusted, but whatever. But I've been a huge fan of walking with a push cart for a long time. And, every once in a while I would look and see some of these electric carts and stuff like that out there. And I've always wanted to try one, but I've never really, I've got a cart. I don't really need something else. So we were talking to the boys of Motocaddy, and I was like, man, I would really like to try one. I've always been interested in these electric carts, and they were like, heck yeah, we'd love to have you try one as well. So I've actually been testing 2 of the models that they have out, which has been pretty cool. It's kind of exciting to try something that's golf, but not necessarily a golf club. That usually I don't get that excited about stuff that's not golf clubs, but this I was super excited about. So the guys at Motocaddy sent over some stuff, and I'm not gonna lie, my FedEx guy hated me that day because the containers they come in are pretty big boxes. I mean, they're decently large, and they weigh a lot. I mean, they've got batteries, they've got a ton of packaging to keep things safe. The unit itself is definitely heavier than a standard push cart, and I think the total weight of everything shipped in that day was like 125 pounds. So my FedEx guy, was a super nice guy, was like, hey man, like, we're not friends today. like, this is, you got all these boxes, whatever. So, but they showed up, and the packaging is super nice. Comes in a big, black box, has Motocaddy on it. They definitely are heavy. I mean, I want to say those each box that had the units in them were probably 50 pounds. Just because they have, like I said, they have so much packaging. They have all the stuff, the chargers, everything you need for the unit is in there. And like I said, you add in that cardboard packaging and all that, and they're decently heavy. So I understand why my FedEx guy was not super happy with me. But But they sent me 2 models to try, or 2 of the models that they make to try. One of them being the basically an M7 remote, and then the M5 GPS. So 2 different models, both electric, and they both use the exact same battery, which is kind of nice. But no, they're pretty cool units. I mean, unpackaging them out, super easy to use. I mean, super easy to put together. You basically snap the wheels on, which is like you push a button on the wheel, slide it in, you let it go, and then you basically just give it like a little push and it clicks into place. You pop on both wheels, and then you unfold it with like 2 clips. So there's a clip in the very back. You pull it out, basically the handle flips out of it, and then there's a secondary for basically halfway up the handle. You undo that clip. That way you can also adjust, how high you want the handle to be. Lock that in place, and you're pretty much ready to go. So it's really, really quite simple to use. They're super easy to put together. I mean, I didn't even need the instructions. I highly recommend reading the instructions if you get one, but I mean, you barely needed it. So then same thing, they basically say charge the battery, like overnight. So plug that thing in, let it sit, let it charge up. The battery's pretty decent size. I mean, it's probably this, if you stacked up 2 dozen golf balls, it's about that size. It's a pretty decent sized battery, which, for the units, I mean, they're supposed to go 36 holes. I unfortunately have not been able to play 36 holes to test that theory, but from my using it on 9 and 18, I have no doubt that it'll last 36 with no problem. But like I said, the battery's pretty decent size, so you charge that up. Battery drops right into the center of the unit. There's a plug that you basically just snap in, and the thing comes to life, and you're basically ready to go. So the M7 was the one I took out first. And basically, like I said, the setup was super easy. You pull it out of the box, pull the packaging off, unfold it, and once you charge the battery, I mean, you can go play. Like it's that easy to use. It also has the M7 remote, comes with, as you'd expect, a little remote. And you charge up the remote as well. It's just like a little USB charging plug. You just undo the bottom. There's a little rubber flap. And you plug in the USB cord, and you can actually charge it off the cart itself. It's actually got a plug for USB charging where you can charge like the remote here. If you had your phone, whatever, you can charge. Now, if you're charging your phone and a Bluetooth speaker and everything else, yeah, you're going to lose some, some of the range on the battery. But for most people, I don't think you're going to be charging everybody's phone, everybody's Bluetooth speaker and stuff off your cart. But it's there in a pinch, which is super nice. And they also sent over the accessory kit for it as well, which is pretty cool. But so the M7 has a remote, and once you basically plug it out, plug it in, get your bag on there. You basically hit the power button on the remote, and it automatically connects to the cart, and it is literally like a video game. So it's got a forward, backwards, a stop, and then a right and left buttons. And the forward button is basically one press, the cart starts moving forward, and you press it again to make it go faster, and again to make it go faster. And I think there's like 8 speeds on there, so 1 through 8. And you basically press the button a couple times, it'll go whatever speed you want it to go, and it'll just keep going until you hit stop. Or I believe if it gets about, I think it's like 40 or 50 yards away from you, it'll stop automatically when it gets away from the remote. So if you don't have to worry about if you're talking to a buddy and whatever, it will eventually just stop itself. But it is super easy to use. I took it out my front yard when I first got it, just to make sure I could actually control it or see what it was like. And my one neighbor was going out for a jog and was like, "What the heck is that?" And I was like, "Well," because I was literally controlling it, so it was just driving itself. And I was like, "It's an electric golf cart." He was just like, "That is absolutely amazing. I've never seen anything like it." But super easy to use. I mean, you hit start, or you hit the plus button to go forward. It starts going. You press it a couple times to get it to the speed you want. I think I found like 5 was about 4 to 5 was basically my normal just walking pace, and it would basically just ride alongside me. 5 might be a hair faster, so it might gain on me a little bit, but it wasn't a big deal. The right and left buttons, I mean, if you tapped them like really quick, just a little tap, it would just kind of correct itself real quick. And just kind of guide itself down the fairway. I found I would do that the most. I mean, you'd be walking on the fairway and just kind of tap it a little bit, and it would just kind of either center itself or head a little more towards your ball. And then if you really held down, the left or right to make a big right turn or left turn, the thing would actually kind of stop and then make the turn. And then most of that's because like the two wheels that drive it, it would basically stop and then rotate one wheel to turn the unit. So, but again, super easy to use. I mean, like I said, it's like a video game. Just press the button, and you really didn't have to think about it. You just walk down the fairway, talking with whoever, and you would just, it would be in my hand, and I would just be kind of controlling it, not even thinking about it, just having a conversation. So, super easy to use for the remote and all that. Super easy to use, and then you could also stop. When you hit stop, it would stop. It wouldn't roll down any hills. It would kind of put its own little like parking brake on, and it would just stay right there. And everybody in my league, the first night I brought it out, was just like shocked. All of a sudden, a few people I think knew I had it. A bunch of guys didn't. And then as we started like going down the fairway, or like walked off from the first tee, all of a sudden like the thing just starts going, and people were just like, "What the heck?" But it's pretty, it's a pretty easy, like I said, simple, super simple to use. If you didn't want to use the remote, there is a little dial on the handle that you can actually press, and then you can turn the dial to whatever speed you want. But you just press the button with your thumb, the thing would go. You would just steer it with your hand, and then you'd hit the button again to stop it. And you could do that as well. I did that every once in a while. Like if you just needed to move the cart like around the tee box, I would just hit the button, move it, and stop it. It doesn't, once it's, running and all that, you don't really want to push it without it has a lot of resistance. I don't know how the wear is for just pushing it without it running on its own, in terms of wear for the batteries and the gearing and all that. But like I said, super, super easy to use. It took zero time to really get used to it. Like I said, I mean, I could have walked out on the course with the remote, all that, and just went. Like I said, I ran it around my front yard and stuff, and it was, like I said, the learning curve is basically zero. If anybody's worried about, like, oh, how, when will I actually get a feel for it? Is it going to take me a couple rounds? No, it's going to take you like 2 minutes to realize how it works. And, like I said, even finding the speed that you walk with, if you want it to kind of walk with you or whatever, it's super easy. It like I said, it's super. It actually made the round pretty fun. Especially like the 3 rounds that I've used it for now have been a blast. It's been great. I actually enjoy using it. It's fun out there, and it's fun just to walk. Like you just walk down the fairway. You can have your water bottle in your hand. Maybe if you drink something different, like an adult beverage, but you can have something in your hand, walking, whatever, and you don't even. I mean, you don't have to push your cart. You don't have to do anything. I mean, it just goes by itself, and it's pretty cool. I mean, it goes by itself, but it doesn't. But it's pretty cool. I mean, and I've gotten pretty good now where I can basically drive, and it could be like 30, 40 yards ahead of me, and I can stop it pretty much right next to my ball. And it's super easy to do that. I mean, it's just, everything about it is just simple to use. I mean, they really have made it basically, I consider myself kind of an idiot, and it's pretty idiot proof because I've been able to drive it all over. It took me zero time to learn, and I haven't driven into like a pond or a creek or anything yet. Now, the first time I did go across one of the bridges at St. Clair Shores, I was a little nervous. I mean, you just always, what if it takes off on its own? What if it does? It didn't, but it's just one of those, like, you guided it over, and I think one of the guys in my group was like, "Oh, you're a little nervous on going across that bridge?" And I was like, you know what? I kind of was for the first time, but now using it a bunch, I don't even think about it. I mean, you just steer it over. It just, like I said, it just goes. Both the like the M7. I mean, the big thing I think other people will ask is how stable is it, because it is driving itself. You're not holding on to it. It is just going by itself. And honestly, out of probably 27 holes, I've had one time where I thought it might tip over, and I kind of like jumped up, and it didn't. But I thought it was going to get close. It's got basically a little wheel on like a fourth wheel on the back. So it's a 3-wheel cart, but on the back it's got this little wheel that kind of slides in, and it is the furthest point back. And going up hills, it'll basically catch itself. Up hills, going uphill, it'll basically, if the bag leans back a little bit, it'll hit that wheel and stop. If it goes over a big rut or something like that, that wheel will stop it from flipping forward, anything like that. And basically the only time that I thought it was going to go over was right around one of the tee boxes. There was kind of it was like a ramp of dirt, and it had no grass on it. It was just dirt, and it was, super hard. It hadn't rained in a while. and it went up there, and I think just the way the front wheels kind of shot it forward, it caught, the rear wheel hit, but then the rear wheels got up there, and like I said, being just raw dirt, no grass, the wheels did slip for a second, and when it slipped, it kind of did shoot it backwards even further, and I thought it was going to maybe tip over, but it did hit and landed and kept going, and I stopped it right after that, or as soon as I saw it kind of do it, I stopped it. But that was the only time. I mean, everything else, if there's little ruts, if it, I've had it where one wheel hit a sprinkler head, and it just keeps going. Like it doesn't. I have yet to tip it over. I'm not trying to, but I'm also not thinking about it. Like I'm not purposely like scanning the fairway or scanning the rough for different little holes or whatever. I'm just walking with it, and I'm just letting it go. And like I said, it'll catch a sprinkler head, it'll catch a little drainage, drainage top, anything like that, and maybe the one wheel dips, and it just bounces back and goes. So there's really nothing. Like I said, I mean, there could be some extreme things where you might worry about it tipping over. I haven't felt, like I said, I've had one time out of 27 holes, and that was a pretty bare dirt patch of like ramp. It was like the perfect storm. Anything on grass, it's been perfectly fine. I mean, going up hills, out at the Ayapawa Island little golf course, the first hole, 8th hole, 9th hole, I mean, are huge hills, and having to go down there, up there, it was perfectly fine. I mean, going uphill, you'd expect it to kind of like, slow down or really like work going up, and it doesn't. Like it just goes. It keeps the same speed. It just keeps chugging along. It doesn't make any noise. Like the one thing I was kind of shocked, like it has no whine, no buzz, no anything. Like you hit the button and it just starts going. Like there's nothing, there's no sound. Like I'm trying to explain like what, like, I think everybody knows kind of like some of those little electric motors when you have like a radio controlled car or something like that, you could hear it kind of like, not squeak, but almost start up. And this has no sound. Like if somebody else is hitting and you want to start it going down the fairway, like, if you're on the opposite side and the person's back to you, they're hitting their shot, you can start it and roll, and other than the clubs rattling, the unit itself makes zero noise. It just goes. So, like I said, I've actually had a blast with it. I'm really liking I like both of them. They're both super easy to use. They make walking really fun. I mean, it's kind of like, I went up to band and got to play with a caddy. That was a blast. I love just being able to just walk down the fairway, talk to people, whatever, not have to worry about my bag or anything like that. And this gets you pretty much that close to it. I mean, it really does. It's pretty fun to do. It's got some cool features. I got the accessory pack, so it has a pretty heavy duty umbrella holder. I thankfully haven't had to use that yet. But the nice thing is it basically screws in. It's got teeth around it, so it kind of locks into place. So I thankfully haven't had to use that yet, but it's really kind of heavy duty plastic and everything. So I have no problem, no qualms about that. Probably working great. It has the big drink holder on it, which basically just kind of snaps on and it'll rotate. I put have a water bottle in there. That felt a little flimsy when we first got it. When I first opened it up, it kind of felt like flimsy plastic. I was like, man, a kind of a Yeti style, a stainless steel like water bottle. Mine's like a tall, thin one. I was kind of like, man, if that has like water, ice, whatever in it, like this doesn't seem super hard plastic. But it has no problem holding drinks through whatever terrain I've run over. It has stayed in place. It hasn't moved an inch. It works great, and it just like kind of snaps on, and it will kind of go back and forth. So it's got a little play to it as you run over some rough terrain, but it's super. Like I said, the plastic felt a little more flimsy, but I tell you what, it's held that thing with no problem. And then also it's got a scorecard holder that also has which is covered, so it's got like it's got a little box that slaps on. And there's actually 2 mounting points for all these accessories, which makes it super easy, and they just screw in. And the scorecard holder has a clear plastic top, or pretty clear plastic top. You snap it open, it just flips open. You slide a scorecard in there, and then it's got a slide-out drawer that you don't even notice that will hold like 2 balls, a couple tees, whatever, some really small stuff. And then it also has a phone mount that attaches to the very top of it that'll hold your phone basically right in front of you, which I think is cool, but I also think it's kind of a pain because then you're always checking your phone. Typically when I play, like I just throw my phone in a pocket of my bag, and I don't really look at it. I mean, I may look at it at the later holes to see if I need to bring my wife home some dinner or something. But having it right in front of me is very cool. You can just touch it, it locks in, but it also is right there in front of you, so you tend to check it a lot and look at your if you get a work email, whatever, you tend to check it. But it's a pretty cool little telescoping or telescoping arm. You can adjust it whatever way you want, and then it's got a little sliding hand that's foam line that locks in. I've got an iPhone 11 Max, I guess. I don't know, the bigger iPhone 11, and it fits in there just fine. You do get pretty close. I mean, you couldn't fit stuff too much bigger than that, so there's no iPad or anything like that in that mount. But the unit fits my iPhone 11 just fine. Like I said, the only negative to that is like I said, I found myself actually checking my phone more. But excuse me. But I think for the M7, if you're somebody who uses like a GPS unit or something like that, if it fits in that little, or you use your phone for GPS, or you keep score on your phone, whatever, super easy because it's right there. It's really nice. Like I said, that one there, I don't know if I'm going to use it a ton, just because, like I said, I didn't like the fact that I was always checking my phone. I may take that off. The scorecard portion of it, I do like. It's a little bulky, so when you're folding it up and like putting it in the back of my truck, I got to be careful. I think the second time I used it, I thought I almost broke it because I hit it on the tonneau cover for my truck, and I was kind of like worried about it. That one there, you just got to be a little more careful, just because it does stick up a little further. So that one there, but I mean, like, the drink holder is great. The umbrella holder looks to be fantastic. Like I said, I fortunately have not had to use it, but it looks really good. But the M7 remote has been really awesome. I've really enjoyed using it, and like I said, it's just one of those things where I will continue to use it. I don't know if I'm going to give it back to these guys, this this M7, because it's been a blast. Like I said, it's the closest thing to having a caddy without having to necessarily pay a caddy. And for what caddy fees cost, it's not going to take you too many rounds to pay this thing off. Because it's not cheap, I will admit. I think the M7 remote is $14.99, I believe. Yeah, $14.99 for the M7 remote. But it is, like I said, I super, I enjoy it. Out of the two units, the M5, which we'll talk about in a second, if I had to choose between one, I would take the M7. I just like the remote function of it. I think it's really cool. And like I said, I just really enjoyed playing rounds with it. So really fun. The M7, like I said, if you go to motocaddy.us, that's their website, motocaddy.us, so motocaddy.us. You can go there, check them out. They have all the specs, everything like that. It's pretty cool. And then, like I said, I'm going to get into the M5 here. But before I do, just want to let you know, calling all levels golfers, get a tour level club fitting no matter your skill level at Club Champion. With more than 85 stores nationwide, it's never been easier to lower your scores through perfectly fitted custom equipment. Book now at clubchampiongolf.com. And that's where I got fit 2 years ago for my irons. It was a blast. I had a ton of fun just getting fit. It was fun just hitting the other clubs, seeing the differences, feeling the differences, all that. And those guys over there were really awesome to let me hit some stuff that didn't even necessarily fit into. It was just, they had some cool new shafts in there, and it was fun to hit them. So, like I said, check out clubchampiongolf.com. It's like I said, they've got a ton of stores. You'll be able to find a fitter that's pretty close to you. So then we have the Motocaddy, the M5 GPS, which, as the name states, has GPS. So it's a very similar unit when you look at the actual unit itself. It's a 3-wheel cart. It actually doesn't have the 4th wheel that comes out the back of it, because this one doesn't. The M5 doesn't have the remote. So you'll actually, much like what you can do with the M7, is you hit the button in the middle on the handle, set your speed, and you just start walking. You will have your hand on this cart. So this one here, you don't have that 4th wheel on the back because of the hills and all that, because you will be holding on to it. And to be 100% honest, I was kind of nervous, because I took out the 7 first with the remote, had a blast with it, and to be honest, I was a little, I wouldn't say concerned, but I was kind of like, am I going to like the M5 as much? If I have to hold on to it, whatever, is it going to be as fun? And to be honest, it was, I shouldn't have had any qualms about it. It actually was perfectly great. I mean, it was great. It really, I didn't even, the first few holes I was kind of conscious of the fact that I didn't have a remote in my hand and I wasn't just controlling it. But after that, it was just basically walking with my hand basically on the cart a little bit. I mean, you're really lightly holding on to it. I mean, basically just maybe nudging it right or left again down the fairway just to keep it, towards your ball, or in my case, a lot the rough. But, it basically drives itself. Again, on that one, I think I found that kind of that 4 to be my sweet spot of walking a little bit, depending on who I was walking with. Or if there was a couple guys in carts playing with me, then I'd probably step up to 5 and kind of briskly walk a little faster. If you're a really fast walker, though, I mean, the thing goes up to like I think it's like 8, and for me, I'd be like running with the cart. So, but the M5 GPS, the big thing is that there's the screen on it, which I forgot to say, on the M7, there's a little screen as well that has the battery meter and the speed on it, the little LCD screen. This one's got the M5 has a bigger screen that actually has GPS on it. So it's got over 40,000 courses preloaded, and you basically just pick your course. It's really easy. When you first plug it in, there's basically 2 options: play golf or settings. So the first time you get it, you'll hit settings, you'll go in, update the firmware. It'll actually connect to your Wi-Fi. I did it one night just sitting there watching TV. I fired it up, go into the options, connected to my Wi-Fi, and then just did like a firmware update. I updated the St. Clair Shores course. I just updated a couple courses that I might play, and it's, I mean, super simple. I mean, the instructions walk you right through it, but I mean, the menu, you can go in and figure it out. It's pretty simple. And then you literally hit the play golf button, and usually if it searches for the course near you. For me, like I said, the first time I played it was St. Clair Shores, and you just select it and you go. And then basically, it basically comes up and gives you yardages, and you can basically have yardages to front, middle, back of the green. There is some dynamic pin movement where you can take the screen there is touch screen, so you can take and drag the pin over to the left side of the green, or if it's in this kind of back corner, you can kind of slide that over, and the GPS will adjust yardages to where that pin location is. It'll also give you all the distances to the hazards, out there. So if there's water in front of a green, if there's a greenside bunker on the left or right, it'll actually give you basically all those yardages, just like a regular GPS will. And to be honest, they seem pretty darn accurate. I mean, I was playing with guys who had their own GPS watches, all that. It was right with them. I think the GPS in it is pretty darn accurate. It's as accurate as anything from Bushnell or Garmin or whatever I was playing, guys I was playing with. When we walked up to say par 3s or whatever, I mean, everybody was within a yard or so, maybe 2, but everybody was pretty close. The GPS seemed pretty accurate. It updated as it drove, so as you're going, it would basically kind of count itself down. And then you could, it's got a lot of features with that. It'll keep score if you wanted. But the screen is actually really responsive. It's super easy to use. It even comes with its own little screen protector, so you don't have to worry about scratching it up and beating it up. It's got its own little screen protector that it comes with. So of course I put it on, and there's one piece of dust in it. Thankfully, it's off to the right, just off the screen, so it doesn't interfere with anything like actually looking at. But of course, I messed that up and got a piece of dust in there. But it's got a lot of cool features that I kind of wish you could marry the two. But the M5 is like I said, pretty cool. It's got the same battery, same motors. It's dead silent. It's got a ton of torque. I mean, you really notice it on the M5 because you're kind of holding it. Your hands are on the handle, which is actually a really kind of soft rubber. Like, it's not hard plastic, anything like that. It's really like a soft rubber. So even on sweaty days, whatever, I mean, it's got some tack to it. But you hit it to start and you go, but when you're holding onto it, you can really feel like the thing's got some power. I mean, I don't know if it could pull me, but it definitely has some power for, I mean, I don't care if you're playing a monster staff bag, like I sometimes carry, or, a lightweight stand bag, whatever, it's going to pretty much pull whatever you put on there. And like I said, you don't notice it with the 7 because you're not really touching it much. The M5, you really notice how much power it has, and going up hills, down hills, it just doesn't phase it. Like, it just keeps going, and it doesn't really, like I said, you don't even hear it. Even going up some steeper hills, you just don't even hear it making noise. Like, it just goes. But the GPS function of it, it's got more, I mean, it'll keep score. It's got the GPS, tell you everything to hazards. It's it's got it's got a clock on it. It's got basically a kind of pace of play timer to how long your round takes. I mean, it's got shot distances, so you can hit shot and then walk out to your ball. It'll tell you exactly how far you hit it. I mean, stuff like that that's just built in. That's really nice to kind of have right on your cart. The GPS function is super nice. I mean, it's just one of those things where, I wish they offered it on like every model. Like if they had a 7 with the GPS, it would be like the perfect cart. But the M5 is really cool. It's got its own little thing where you can. It's called ADC, which it'll basically drive ahead for X amount of yards and stop. And I think you can set it with a dial, and it will drive itself straight, but you can't really steer it. It just goes. So if you have like a big sloping fairway or something like that, it's going to be a little harder to control there, but you can let it go for its own little bit, and it'll go out, stop, and wait for you there. And the same thing, like I said, you just hit the button in the middle. There's, like I said, it's a button, but it's also a dial, and you just tap it with your thumb. The thing starts going. When you get to where you want to go, you tap it again, it just stops. And like it puts on its own kind of little parking brake. It doesn't roll down hills. It doesn't, once it's stopped, it's pretty much stopped. Like I said, there's a couple holes, especially at St. Clair Shores, where there's some water that comes up, like 10, 12, or I'm sorry, 11, 12, depending on where you are on 13, 14, even 15. I mean, there's spots where you're like, this thing could, if it got going, it could roll into the water. And on 12, this little par 3 that you hit it over kind of a little creek, and then you basically walk across the creek, play the hole, and then you walk back across the creek to the next tee box. I've actually seen a guy who forgot to set his parking brake on a push cart, and the push cart rolled into the creek, and he had to like jump in and fish it out. So there's always, actually I've seen 2 guys it happened to on that hole. But this thing, I mean, once it stops, it stops. It doesn't move until you come up and hit the button again. And it actually does have 9 speeds on the thing. I just had the specs up, and it's 9 speeds. And if you're at 9, I mean, you're either got the longest legs in the world, or you are just flat out running behind that cart. But like I said, it's pretty cool. The GPS has a ton of functions. It actually has Bluetooth capabilities. So you can actually connect it to your phone, and you can actually get notifications, alerts, and everything from your phone on the screen. So you can't, you can't like text back in there, but it'll basically pop up and say, hey, you have an email, you have a text message, whatever. So if you're a guy like me who maybe has, you're married, has a kid or 2 or whatever, and, the wife is texting you to let you know that, they're not behaving the way they should, you can get that notification. I set my phone up to it. I connected it to it. And I mean, much like the phone mount on the 7, which the 5, you can get a phone mount as well. It has the same connectors to put all the same accessories on. But it was the same thing. Like, when I play, my tee time's at like 4:45, or it starts at that, and you're still gonna get some work emails and stuff like that later in the day. And I ended up turning it off because I didn't like seeing all the notifications from texts and emails and whatever. So that kind of stuff I actually did turn off, but it's kind of nice. I mean, it's the fact that you could take your phone, put it in the pocket of your cart, or pocket of your bag, or put it somewhere else, and not have to really look at it until you see something on that little screen. It's just kind of cool there. But yeah, pulling up courses, getting them started is super easy. And it'll automatically, for the most part, switch over, hole to hole. Even at a place like St. Clair Shores, which is pretty close. I mean, tee boxes and greens are pretty darn close. It was pretty good about switching over. And even if it didn't, or say you started on 10 instead of starting on 1, it's got a little arrow button. You just hit it until you get to the hole you're playing, and you're perfectly fine. So it's super easy to use. I mean, like I said, the screen is pretty responsive. It wasn't like laggy or anything like that. You could move stuff pretty easily. They did a really good job of designing that one. And like I said, it actually is pretty fun to play, or pretty fun to use. I mean, excuse me, holding on to it while walking, all that, not a big deal. Like I said, I was a little worried about it, but totally not a big deal at all. I'll give you, with everything, I'll give you a little bit of negative. They're expensive. I mean, the Motocaddy, the 7 remote, M7 remote is $14.99, and the M5 is $13.99. So they're not cheap, but if you're somebody who plays a lot and walks a lot, I think you can make up that money really quickly. The more I use it, the more I just enjoy playing those rounds. Like those little, for me, especially those 9-hole rounds where you're just going out walking and, whatever. It's a blast. Like I really enjoy it. So that part there, I think it does pay for itself pretty quickly. And like I said, if you're somebody who maybe is a member of a club, you go out like early in the morning before work, you get 9 in or something like that, or you play 18. I think just in caddy fees, you'll pay for this thing in a summer. You know, depending on how much you play, you may pay for it even faster than that. But it really is easy to use. It powers through anything. I mean, if you know that, and the other negative, I'll give you, like I said, that one accessory, the scorecard thing, it's a little bulky. You know, it can get in the way for some players, but other than that, I mean, I don't see anything negative about it to play with it. They're a little heavy. I mean, compared to, you know, it's got a big battery and it's got motors, all that. So like taking it out of the back of my truck, you definitely notice a difference. I mean, I think it's something like 35 pounds to take it out of the back of the truck, which for me is fine. But I know, you know, for some people, if you're a little older or whatever, it is legitimately heavy. You don't notice it playing at all because it drives itself. But getting it out of the car, it's got a little weight to it. If you're used to having a regular push cart that folds up, you know, this definitely has a little more weight. It actually folds up pretty small. It probably folds up just a little bit bigger than my three-wheel cart before. It's a little wider, which you can take the wheels off really easily. I mean, it's like a one-button thing. They snap off. So if you're, you know, got a smaller trunk or something like that, you can pop off the wheels, and you can actually flip them around, and they fold in even smaller, so you don't have to worry about the wheels just rolling around in your trunk. They'll snap in even smaller. So that part, you know, like I said, it's a little bigger than a typical three-wheel cart, but you know, I mean, I guess I've got a truck, so it doesn't really matter. But like I said, super easy to unfold, get going, and just play with. So I've had numerous people stop me in the parking lot, asking me what it is, if I like it, you know, all that. Like I said, a bunch of guys in my league thought it was pretty cool. So like I said, I've had a blast. So out of the two, the M7 remote is my favorite. But I really do like the GPS and the screen stuff on the M5. It's pretty cool that you can just have that there. You don't have to worry about wearing a watch, because I don't really like, as much as I love watches, I don't like wearing a watch when I play, or having to use your phone or have a separate unit or whatever. It's just right there, which is super, super convenient. So like I said, check out motocaddy.us. Check out both of them there. They're super, like I said, super fun. I think they just make 9 holes or even 18 holes fun to play. Like, it just really is fun to play. You just walk, you know, zero effort. You don't have to put it, you know, worry about your shoulders or anything like that. You just go. And then honestly, the other part of it too is they actually make golf bags specifically for these carts. So they actually sent me one of each. So there's a cart bag, which is the Dry Series cart bag, and then a Hydroflex stand bag. And the cart bag is, unfortunately, if you're watching this on YouTube, is off camera. It's got some clubs in it because I used it recently. The stand bag here, though, I've got behind me, both fully waterproof. So, you know, basically waterproof material, and which is actually kind of nice, because with my other cart, I went out and bought like a waterproof cover for when, you know, I got stuck playing in the rain. But these here are all waterproof. They've got the waterproof rubber covered zippers there. But they're actually built really well. This is the stand bag that it doesn't have the strap on it right now, because it's got these really easy to use, like quick release or buckles on here that you can just basically take the dual straps off super quickly. I mean, they snap off, they snap in. So if it's something where you're going to carry the bag in to go to the range or whatever, you snap the shoulder straps on, or if you're going to carry it into the course and use a cart, whatever. But if you're playing with, you know, one of the Motocaddy, you know, electric carts, you snap it off, it's out of the way, you don't have to worry about it. So they're super nice. And this one here is actually pretty, I mean, it's built really well. Like, it's really stable. You know, sometimes when companies that aren't bag companies, you kind of worry about, are these things going to be kind of cheap or, you know, really flimsy, whatever. They're really not. I mean, both bags seem to be built really well. The legs pop out super easy on this one, and then the stand bag has kind of a 5-way divider top, and then the cart bag, which I have, is the 14-way, which is, you know, like I said, I've been using the 14-way on the cart just because I feel like it keeps the clubs from rattling around a little more. The 5-way, you'll get a little more rattle, but you can just throw them in there wherever you want. You know, like I said, the cart bag there does keep stuff from rattling around a little bit, may keep a little club chatter off. And then the other kind of really cool thing they have with the bags is on the bottom, they've got kind of a cutout, a little like kind of rectangular cutout that's the same shape as the bottom of the carts. So when it fits in there, the bag doesn't rotate, it doesn't move around, it doesn't, you know, jostle around, which is kind of nice. And then you actually can add in these little metal posts that in the bottom of the cart, there's 2 slots for these metal posts to fit into. And when you lock it in there, the bag will not move on the cart. Like, it won't rotate, it won't jostle around, it doesn't do anything. it just basically stays right there. And it's kind of actually nice. I didn't really think about it, but now thinking about my old cart and how like some of my bags fit on there, like they would rotate around sometimes as you ran over some rough terrain. They would kind of slide or shift. These don't move at all. I mean, they're rock solid in place, and then you don't even need to strap the bottom in. You just strap the top portion of the bag to the cart, and you're good to go. If you don't have a Motocaddy bag, it's fine. Like they have the strap clicks in, and there's the strap for the bottom of the bag and a strap for the top, and it fits pretty much any bag. I mean, my huge Club Junkie staff bag, which is like a big vessel bag, fits on there just fine. It actually fits better than my old cart because there's the center, the way it's shaped, there's more room for the big pocket on it, so it actually fits a little better than it did on my previous 3-wheel cart. So, but the bags are really nice. Like I said, everything is waterproof. Even the rain covers that come with them, waterproof as well. But they're built really solid, and they come in a couple different colors. Like these two, they're gray. Like I have a gray with red and a gray with blue. And they're actually really nice bags. They're really lightweight. And like I said, they're not flimsy at all, especially like the stand bag there. It's got a nice plastic kind of top to it. That's rubber and fabric lined, so it's not going to scratch any graphite shafts or anything like that. And then the 14-way actually works really well. I mean, if you're carrying 14 clubs, it works great. Shoving an extra couple putters and stuff in there, you can get away with. Like in the other one, I've got a standard putter and then a putter with a super stroke grip, and they both fit in the putter well. They're a little tight, but they both fit. But everything else fits in there just fine. I haven't tried to shove too many things. You can get other shafts in or whatever. But carrying like 16, 17 clubs, it starts to get a little tough, a little tight with that one. But tons of pocket space. The stand bag has like an insulated kind of water bottle holder, where the cart bag has an actual big pocket that has that a lining in it that you can put drinks or whatever in, and maybe a little bit of a bag full of say ice or freezer bag or whatever. And it works pretty well. I took it out the last time I played, and I put a couple waters in there, and they stayed pretty cool. I mean, it's not like having a Yeti, but it's better than just having them sitting in, on top of the cart or on top of the push cart or whatever in the sun. So they actually kept it pretty cool. But lots of pocket space. The pockets are big on these. If you're looking for something that's like a Sunday bags type, really small, these are not it. These definitely have a lot more room. You could definitely put a rain suit in there. A lot of golf balls, whatever you're going to carry, they have a ton of storage for them. So the bags are actually really nice. I like I said, again, fortunately, I haven't had to test the waterproof rating on them yet. But the way they fit into the cart is just really cool. That bottom design, it just basically, you set it in there, and it's just the bag's just it's rock solid. Like it's never going to turn. It's always going to stay that way, situated in there, and it's kind of a really cool design. But putting a regular bag in there, I haven't played rounds with the regular bags yet, but they do fit. They fit with no problem. Like I said, even a heavy bag like my vessel, and the cart is no problem moving it. I mean, the weight of it is no big deal. So, but the bags work really well. So, if you're gonna use it a ton, you live in some place where it might rain, whatever. I mean, looking at the Motocaddy bag to go along with the cart isn't a bad idea. Like I said, the way it fits and the way it's kind of seamless together, it is kind of nice. I do have to say, I was pretty impressed with how those things work together. And like I said, the whole waterproof thing is pretty cool. Like I said, I have a cover for mine that I bought off like Amazon that you had to like snap on. If you thought it was going to be like bad weather, you would put it on. With these, you don't have to worry about it. You can just kind of go play, and if it rains, hey, throw the rain cover on, and everything should be pretty much tight. And you have your umbrella holder as well. So, it's just like I said, the bags are super nice, and it is nice that they work so seamlessly with the push carts. So, yeah, but that's the Motocaddy stuff. I know it's a super long episode here now, but it's hard to talk about kind of the features and using it while when you have kind of 4 pieces. But like I said, the cart's really awesome. The bags are definitely nice. And like I said, if you're going to get a cart and you're looking for a new bag anyway, it's kind of nice that these things work so seamlessly together. So take a look at them and see. But yeah, I mean, it's like I said, I'm super excited. I'm going to continue to probably use the M7. Like I said, the M5 is awesome as well. Don't get me wrong. I know I'm gushing over one, but the M5 is really cool with the GPS. Like I said, my perfect would be marry the two, but I can't. But like I said, I've been having a blast using them. I'm super excited that they got that Motocaddy sent them over because, like I said, I've had a blast playing with them. I think I've enjoyed playing the my 9-hole league for sure. I've definitely enjoyed playing it more with the electric cart. So, like I said, go to motocaddy.us, check them out, and I think that's all I got this week. Hopefully, I'll play well today. We'll see. I played okay last week. I think I shot 40 and I don't think I couldn't make a putt to save my life. But the greens at St. Clair Shore is a little slow, so I'm having a rough time. After playing Reynolds Lake and playing some of these other courses with some fast greens, Bella Vista's greens are pretty fast. Going to St. Clair Shores, it's like I got to hammer the ball. So we'll see. Hopefully play a little better today, and we'll see about playing this weekend. I'm going to try. So hopefully everybody has a good rest of the week. Have a good weekend. Follow me on Instagram at Club Junkie Pod if you want. I know I've been really slacking with my Q&A sessions on Wednesdays. It seems like every Wednesday I've just been super busy here at the office. But follow me there if you have any questions, anything like that. Let me know. And hopefully we'll talk next week.